exciting as we talk about the retail giant Amazon and how they plan on expanding their e-commerce business into India. Amazon has stated that some of the challenges that they face are with the population size of India as well as the lack of education of its people. After recent interviews with Amazon, we have spoken with them and gotten some information about how they plan to remedy these situations. One of the remedies that Amazon plans to have is to actually place kiosks in some of the high retail areas to help with buying assistance for those customers who struggle with any sort of comprehension. Another remedy that they would like to do is they're going to offer 5 distribution centers all throughout India, as well as work with third parties to encourage them to sell with Amazon to help further their business. Since this expansion, Amazon has been doing exceptionally well, and many people state that they want to expand further into the ASEAN regions.
A changing business force that Coca-Cola encounters is weather and environmental changes, with climate scientists constantly providing evidence for environmental issues regarding the increase in GHG emissions being linked to human activity. Coca-Cola was concerned with a huge resource involved in their business being threatened by climate change: water. Coke's stance on climate protection is both understanding and helpful. The company, wanting to act responsibly, hopes to improve their energy efficiency in their manufacturing operations to reduce the impact their multinational company has on the environment. Through their new climate protection strategy, Coca-Cola has found innovative ways to improve their environmental impacts, such as linking climate change concerns directly to their management of water stewardship. Similarly, they apply this strategy to their work with their packaging partners. They have also co-founded Refrigerants Naturally, which is supported by both the United Nations Environment Program and Greenpeace. Coca-Cola has since reduced its carbon footprint, which is shown in their sustainability reports.
A change in market forces occurred on August 28, 2017, when Amazon and Whole Foods completed their merger. This originally started back in late 2016 when the stock price of Whole Foods continued to drop and managers tried to improve the price. They started looking for potential companies to merge with in April of 2017. However, connections led them to meeting with Amazon to gauge their interest. Amazon originally offered to pay $41 per share, which was higher than the current trading price of $35 for Whole Foods. However, it did require complete confidentiality and refused to get into a bidding war with other companies. Otherwise, it would back out. Whole Foods countered, and ultimately they agreed on a price of $42 per share, which gave a total cost of $13.7 billion. In the years since this has occurred, Whole Foods sales are up by 19%, and they are driving customers of Whole Foods to Amazon's website. Prime members receive free 2-hour deliveries on orders over $35 from Whole Foods, and also receive exclusive discounts for Prime members at Whole Foods. However, suppliers are paying significantly more for shelf space now. Prior to the merger, they were paying around $25,000, and it has now since skyrocketed up to $300,000. Other companies are trying to follow in Amazon and Whole Foods' shoes and lead towards a more millennial-suited generation.
In 2018, Nike was praised and scrutinized on all mainstream media platforms, including social media, television, print, and radio, for their latest campaign featuring Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick is the face of a social and political movement about racial injustice in American society. By using Kaepernick, they took a strong stance in a heated debate over equality. Nike was able to leverage the media they were receiving to channel it into their sales funnel. They used their positive press to gain higher sales, especially online. The campaign overall created $163.5 million in media exposure, gaining a record amount of likes on Nike's social media. In their first day, Nike had over 450,000 mentions just on Twitter. Nike was able to capitalize on their media exposure. The company's online sales increased by 31%.
A change in technological forces can be seen by Marriott now using artificial intelligence-powered chatbots on Facebook Messenger and Slack. In an attempt to improve guest stays, guests can now chat with AI anytime, whether on the property or not. These guests can ask to talk to the front desk or simply to link rewards and varying other questions. The average response time of the AI is 5 seconds. In 2015, Marriott created the Marriott mobile app. Messaging is growing in popularity in the US, and Marriott noticed and took steps to follow the change. This ultimately deepens the personalization for people and allows them to feel more connected with the company. This also helps to improve the satisfaction of guests and give them additional choices for communication that they prefer. This can simplify the travel experience for guests by giving them a more direct line of communication that can be answered at all times throughout the day. Overall, Marriott has been very successful with this rollout, and the artificial intelligence continues to learn as more people interact with it.
Hey, this is going to be a huge news report with my huge hands. They're huge. I put these new tariffs in place on steel and aluminum products. It's hugely impacting the automobile industry, especially Ford. They're claiming it cost them over $1 billion according to their huge CEO, making a huge paycheck. Vote for me, 2020. Anyways, their shares are falling like crazy. Ford had to scrap a plan to make a new crossover in China because they couldn't afford my huge tariffs. That's an economic force in the business environment.
Once upon a time, there was a very, very spooky story of how Google decided to ignore political and government factors in business. Due to strict privacy laws in Europe, Google Maps was strictly forbidden in certain countries such as Germany and Switzerland, but they chose to ignore those rules and laws that the government had in place. They still went along and used their streetcars and collected data and pictures of all the surrounding roads and buildings. Germany was very upset and decided to go after them legally, and huge fines were heading Google's way until they decided to blur out faces and buildings. Google's still trying to get around these sanctions as Google Maps is a huge factor of their business.
In 2018, Walmart faces new tax laws that will work in their favor. Under the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, tax liability of C corporations is estimated to decline by $388 billion. This is equivalent to a 10% decrease. The new tax law will reduce Walmart's rate to 21%. The company will save between $1 million to $2 billion a year. Walmart pays between $6 billion and $7 billion a year in taxes right now. Walmart is able to use a higher disposable income to invest in their employees. Walmart announced that it will be giving all employees raises/bonuses or both. Walmart put the cost of the new pay and benefits at less than $1 billion nationwide.
And we're here live in California reporting with maple syrup. The company at question here is Schubert's Ice Cream and Candy in California, Chico, California. The changing business environment is about ideological forces. We're speaking about a raising minimum wage that the company is having struggles dealing with, and how they handled it this time, which they have gone through before, but they didn't have to do this last time. They had to raise the prices of their products, and they really did not want to decrease the quality of their products, and that is something that they refused to do. And so the outcome of this situation was them having to raise the price of their products just to try and stay in business. But there is a scheduled increase in minimum wage again, and that is a problem that they will definitely have to deal with in the future, and they are trying to plan for it, but they're very nervous for it. John, back to you.
How's it going, everyone? Reporting here from Archie's Bar and Grill. I'm here reporting on psychological and sociological factors in the business environment. People are shopping online nowadays. They want to shop from wherever they want, whenever they want. I want to do my homework wherever I want, whenever I want. You know, people thought Black Friday would be a huge thing this year, but no, those behavior trends are changing. People want to shop online. Amazon stocks are soaring. They shot up 5.3% on Cyber Monday alone. That is absolutely insane. To accommodate for these insane amounts of increases in sales, they had to start implementing a new robotic system nationwide. This robotic system allows them to increase their capacity by 50%, and it allows them to, just be way faster. Now, with these robots, they're really dangerous. They're huge. They're like the size of from the floor to the ceiling in these warehouses, so they have to implement a lot of safety measures. So not everything is perfect. They've caused some injuries in their fulfillment centers, but it's what they have to do to get used to these big sales. All right.
Breaking news, the changing business environment factor that we're talking about today is moral and ethical forces. United Airlines recently came over scrutiny due to an incident where two security officers forcibly dragged an elderly man off a plane. He was covered in blood from his head being smacked on an armrest. Obviously, people want an explanation for it. The CEO of United Airlines gave a half-hearted apology in saying that the incident was quote unquote upsetting. And to make matters worse, reports came out the CEO sent out an employee letter saying that the elderly man who was assaulted was quote unquote disruptive and belligerent. Not only did this lead to a settlement between the two parties, this also led to a nationwide frustration as complaints